heading west out of San Antonio, but this time I'm heading east. I'm going to be heading to Louisiana to pick up a M1102 military trailer. These military trailers were meant to be hauled behind Humvees, and they're extremely ruggedized and well built. The bed is entirely made of aluminum, and they're very heavy duty. They can haul up to the M1102 can carry up to 4,200 pounds combined weight, gross weight. I believe without the weight, it's only around like 1,460. Don't quote me on that. There's a similar one that's just like it called the M1101, and the only difference is its payload capacity isn't as much. It's like 30. It's in the middle 3,000 range. I don't remember the exact number. But I had this idea to get one of these after looking around at different trailer options. I want to be able to carry more gear. I don't know if you can tell, but even when I just go camping by myself, I bring an awful lot of gear. It's just over the years learned what I like to bring, and yeah, I mean, and then also I'd like to be able to carry take the family into the backcountry sometime, you know, not just at a RV park like the one we stayed at at Big Bend. And so I got this idea. I started looking at small travel trailers like the Forest River No Boundaries 10.6. That way, like, you know, it can have a rooftop tent on top, and then two people can, you know, sleep in the enclosed camper. So that would kind of work. The two of us would have to be up in the tent. And then if I still had the rooftop tent on the Jeep, it'd be even more, we'd have even more room to have people camp. But then also it'd be on the last time I went to Big Bend and camped in the rooftop tent, we ended up only camping at the same spot for both nights. So each time I had to open up the tent, set it up, and then pack it all up for us to go, which actually doesn't take too long. I know this isn't the clamshell, this isn't the hard shell tent, but it still only takes about, I've got it down to about 15 to 20 minutes now. It used to take a lot longer, but it has a lot of different straps and buckles that you have to undo, and that's what adds to the time. It's still way better than setting up a ground tent, in my opinion, at least the kind that we've had in the past. We get these giant elaborate tents from REI. Of course, if it's just me, I can just bring a backpacking tent, but this is a lot nicer. I like being off the ground on more of a platform. You know, you're above where all the animals and critters are, at least for the most part. And I just like carrying it around. I like to have the ability to camp anywhere, anytime. But yeah, found this one in being sold in Louisiana, so I'm gonna head east and take it off on a late Friday afternoon. It's about a 7.5 hour drive, about the same distance as Big Bend. I don't want to drive and get there, you know, like at midnight, so I figured I would go camp on the way. There's some areas of Texas I haven't seen. North of Houston, there's a national forest, Sam Houston National Forest, with Forest Service roads, and there's supposed to be some dispersed or primitive camping there that I found online. So I'm gonna check that out. Hopefully be able to camp in the rooftop tent, kind of do it on the semi-cheap, and make a little trip and adventure out of it. So this is where the 4xe is nice. It's so quiet. I feel like I'm disturbing these people, but they're not really disturbing them. I mean, clearing. There's a lot of mud. Really? Okay, this is the situation. You can see just back here, it's nice and dry. I could air down the tires. The one that's really making it stuck is that one back there. It's starting to get pretty buried in the mud here. See, there's this nice clearing here I was trying to get to. I can see why nobody came back here. Get a little bit of footprint. Howdy.
Howdy, bro. You need some help?
I just got it unstuck.
What, the Jeep or the wood?
The Jeep.
That's what yeah, I saw you guys. You're that awesome Jeep that drove by. My girlfriend just said, oh yeah, that's the awesome thing. I'm Dean, by the way.
I'm Preston. Nice to meet you.
Preston. The Jeep got stuck?
Yeah, it got stuck right here.
What? Oh, jeez. Oh, well, no shit, obviously. Oh, that's why you're videoing it, okay. So
Yeah.
my goodness.
No. I was just trying to find a place to camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bro,
It's my first time out here, so I heard there was dispersed camping, but I didn't know exactly where.
there's really dispersed camping.
And all the places were taken, like all the side ones. So I saw this, and I was like, oh, nobody's down here.
Well,
I can see why, because it's
right.
it's all super muddy. But
No, but obviously nobody has one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a number of places. I mean, there's some really close. We're right up. If I turn off the lights, then you'll see.
airing down the tires, rocking it back and forth several times. We're finally at camp. Always expect the unexpected. Here's where I ended up camping. And this ground is not as hard as it looks. Actually, it's pretty dry right here, but this is where I came in. A lot of this was, I could tell was wet, but this looked kind of dry on the surface. And as soon as I got in here, the Jeep just sunk in. So here's the main road. There's some neighbors camping across the street. This is when it's kind of nice having the rooftop tent. You don't have to stake a tent down in this moist, muddy ground. Got a few miles to cover today. It's still about 5.5 to 6 hour drive from here to my destination where I'll be picking up the trailer. So gonna make some coffee, make some breakfast, pack everything up and head on out of here. All right, in Beaumont, Texas. Bit of a detour here. The traffic was backed up for like a couple miles, just bumper to bumper. Just west of Vinton, Louisiana. Gas prices aren't any better. Maybe a little bit. Lunch. There's the mighty Mississippi. Out of respect for the seller's privacy, I did not record the transaction as it occurred, but I can tell you the trailer was as promised. The only somewhat of an issue was the hitch that I had purchased to pull the trailer with lunette ring, the Kurt Pennell hook. It was going to cause the trailer to be leaning too far down since it didn't have any sort of riser. So I ended up purchasing the one that the previous owner used to tow the M1102 around, and that turned out to work okay. The only thing, it didn't allow me to open my tailgate. His particular hitch did have an extension, a hitch extension, which a lot of people say is not advisable to use, but it did allow the riser to clear my spare tire on the Jeep. Now, the only other issue is the lights on the M1102 trailer use a 24-volt system, and vehicles in America use a 12-volt system, and those two are not compatible. Now, I had ordered an adapter for this, but it had not come in yet. So I needed to run by the local auto parts store and get some portable magnetic tow vehicle lights. Once I got those, I was squared away and legal to hit the road. Now for this night, I was going to try to just make the drive back. I knew I wouldn't make it all the way back, so I decided to stay at an RV park. It ended up being an RV resort, and they had full bathroom with a shower, so that was much welcomed. Even though I only camped for one night, it was a pretty hairy night with dealing with the mud and then driving long distance both ways. So a much more relaxing experience, even though I was still camping in the rooftop tent, which just as nice as any other bed would have been, I think. No fancy breakfast today. Quite a drive ahead still. About 6 hours. This way. And watch this, it's gonna start going up. Well, the rest of the drive went off without a hitch. The trailer towed really well behind the Jeep. There was a pretty strong southerly wind that was kind of making it just a little more difficult to drive at highway speeds, but when you're driving a large brick down the highway, you're going to run into that issue. But overall, I really love this trailer. The way it's built, the way it's constructed, the way it looks. It's an awesome trailer. I mean, look at the clearance on it. Look at the suspension. It's built so beefy, you can just beat on it and it doesn't care. It's really awesome. The size, look at the bed and all the tie down points it has. It really makes up for not having a truck bed with the Wrangler. And I can't wait to take this out on a trail, see how well it does. Turn it into an overlanding trailer. I mean, just look at the 37s. It's amazing. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I'll leave you with this time lapse of driving through beautiful Houston, Texas. As always, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of any future updates to the M1102 or any future motoring adventures. We'll see you next time.